morning to all my students out there, and I'm welcoming you in the new lecture of accountancy. As we are moving to the very crucial and a very important topic, that is, we are actually moving to the very important segment of your accountancy syllabus, that is the analysis of financial statement. Until and unless it is the financial statements, it is useless if it is not uses or it is not analyzed according to the requirement of the company. So here we have just moved to the segment where we are going to analyze the financial statements. Before analyzing the financial statement of the company, you must be know about that what are the financial statements, what include in the financial statement. So before analyzing the financial statement, one must be know about actually what are the financial statement. So financial statement are prepared following the accounting principles, practices and the accounting standard, section 229 of the Companies Act 2030 prescribed that balance sheet and P&L account are prepared in the form prescribed in Schedule 3rd of Companies Act 2013. So, a set of financial statement as per the section 2, subsection 40 of the Companies Act 2013 include what are actually come in the financial statements. They are the balance sheet, the profit and loss account, notes to account, cash flow statement. So, these are actually your financial statement. So, before analyzing the financial statement, you must be know about that financial statement are actually prepared by the accounting principles, practices and also with the accounting standard. That you must be know that how all these balance sheet and P&Ls and notes to account and also the cash flow all are actually prepared according to the standard, according to the principle which is given in the section of the Companies Act. So, in the financial statement, what are covering? We are covering the that is your balance sheet statement. Then we are covering the income statement, which is called the P&L account. Also the notes to account, which are actually the part of the balance sheet. Also the cash flow statement. These all are come in the financial statements. Now, what is the meaning of the balance sheet? It is a statement of the asset, liability and equities. So, equities mean what the shareholder funds. We actually called here the capital as an equity in the especially in the company's account because here it is a shareholders fund. Equities of the company at the given date. It shows the financial position of the business by detailing its assets, liability and equity. So also we can say it is actually knowing the position of the company, or it is a position statement. Next is the profit and loss statement. It shows the financial performance, result of the business operation during the accounting period. It described as a statement of P&L in part 2 of Schedule 3rd of the Companies Act 2013 and also known as the income statement. So, the profit and loss statement is called the income statement. Balance sheet statement are actually the position statement. Moving to the next, that is the notes to account. Balance sheet and the P&L account are supported by the notes giving the details of the item of balance sheet and the statement of the P&L. And also the fourth one is the cash flow statement. So actually cash flow statement is a statement of the flow of the cash. How the flow of the cash is happening in the company. It flow of the cash, you can say the inflow of the cash. Also you can say the outflow of the cash. What is actually the way, the flow of the cash, that is also important to meet the day-to-day requirement, to meet the long-term requirement of the company. So it's very important to also check and to assess that what kind of the flow of the cash is going to be happen in the company. Now, so cash flow statement, it is a statement prepared in accordance with the under section 3 standards 3 cash flow statement to show inflow and outflow of the cash and cash equivalents. So there is one definition also. There is a definition that which says that the financial statements are the end product of financial accounting prepared by the accountant of the business enterprise that purport to reveal all the financial position of the enterprise, the result of the business, the result of its recent activity, and an analysis of what has been done with the earning. So this is the one of the definition. Now, with the help of this definition, we try to take out some characteristics of financial statement. So they relate to the past. Financial statement are actually relate with the past, and thus they are historical documents. They are expressed in monetary terms. They show financial position through the balance sheet and financial performance through the statement of the profit and loss. So, if we move to the financial statement, if we move to the first, that is the balance sheet. So, what do you mean by the balance sheet? The balance sheet is in a financial statement that summarizes the company's equity, that is shareholder funds, liability and asset of the specific period of the time. These three parts of the balance sheet, that is the equity, that is the asset and the liability, what a company owes and what is company owns, that you are to be find out with the help of that. So I have just tried to explain here with the help of the blackboard the balance sheet of the company, what is the format of the balance sheet of the company, and for analyzing the financial transaction, financial statement, it's very important to know and to study key point, each and every key point of the balance sheet of the company, because until or unless you will not understand the balance sheet or the P&L of the company, or you can say the financial statement of the company, you can't analyze the financial statement. Before analyzing the financial statement, it is very important to understand the format, the specimen, and also the pattern of the your balance sheet, as well as the pattern of the statement of the P&L. So it's very important. So with the help of this, you can understand how the company's balance sheet is prepared. So till now you have just doing in the partnership, you have just making your balance sheet with the horizontal form. Here the main difference is you will see that the balance sheet of the company is in the vertical format. The balance sheet of the company is actually prepared in the vertical format. Like this way, all the either it is a equity, either it is a liability or the asset, all will come in a one line. You are going to line up all the things here in the vertical format. So you can see that in the company's balance sheet, what we have done, there are on the equity, the company has divided the liability and capital, just like in other common balance sheet. All the capital and the liability, here you will write here the equity and liability. In the equity and liability, there is a one section and the other asset side is on the other section. So what comes in the equity and liability, we are going to be understand. In the equity and liability, there are the four sections of the balance sheet. That one is the equity and liability. In the equity and liability, I have just tell you that there are four sections. These are, first is the shareholder fund. Second one is the share application money pending allotment. Third one is the non-current liability. Then the fourth one is the current liability. On the asset side, when we are done with the equity and liability, then we will move to the asset side. That also be there in the one line, in a vertical way. So when you complete with your equity and liability, the other section, the section second will be the asset section, where you will be have to show all your non-current assets as well as the current assets. Just to simplify the company's balance sheet, all the important working notes are given in the notes to account, and with the help of this you can see that one part, the first part is for the particular, where you are going to show all the section, all your heads and subheads of either it is related to equity or the liability or the asset. This is the other column, which is actually meant for the notes to account. If you are making any working note regarding any kind of the heads, either it is related to your equity head or the liability head or the asset head, that has to be shown here by showing the number. How many working note you are doing in the notes to account, you have to show here, so that the accountant of the company can be clear about that what is there in this part. Although it is not being written here, but all the information related to all the heads and subheads are there written in the after the balance sheet, which is called the notes to account. That is actually, you can say, is a working note of the balance sheet or as well as for the P&L, where you will find the detailed information regarding anything you want to know about. So here you will, how many working notes are you are preparing, you will numbering it, and according to the head you can write the number and you will search out the information you want to know. So this is the column of notes to account. Again you will have the other two columns, that one column is for the current year amount, that is you will see figures as per the end of the current reporting period. So it is actually for the figure and amount for the current year. This is for the figure of the previous year. So you are to make the two columns. Instead of one, you are to make the two columns. One column of figure or amount is for the current years, and the other one is for the previous year. Now move to the asset side. You will have the two heads, that is one head that is non-current asset, other one is the current asset. And when asset, all your equity and liability must be equal to your asset. When you will have the these two are equal to each other, you will have the balance of the balance sheet. That is actually the logic of the making of the balance sheet. Also, as I have explained you, all the heads have different columns, different subheads, that we are also going to discuss about that. For example, equity and liability. I have explained here, this part is the equity and liability. I have just written on the blackboard, and this part is your asset, which is further explained, that is also be there on the blackboard. So we are moving to the equity and liability. We have the shareholder fund. Shareholder fund again has the three parts, that is the share capital, reserve and surpluses. Money received against the share warrant, that will become to the shareholder fund. So shareholder fund means that is the share capital, reserve and surpluses, and the money received against the share warrant. Second part is that is your share application, money planting, allotment. This is the second part of equity and liability. Third part is the non-current liability. In the non-current liability, again, this non-current liability is divided into the four subheads. That is the in the non-current liability, you will have the long-term borrowings. Then you will have the deferred tax liability. Then you have other long-term liability and the long-term provision. So it will be there on the non-current liability. The same you will have the current liability, where you are going to discuss all these subheads, which is again divided into the four parts, that you can see with the help of the blackboard, that there is in the current liability you have the short-term borrowings, then the trade payables, then the other current liability, short-term provisions. These are the four subheads under the balance sheet, which is actually very much explained in a very much good way, and also the way of showing it is very effective, because if we will put all the things all together in this balance sheet, it will become so complex. Just to simplify the balance sheet of the company, the law or the Companies Act actually show the notes to account separately, just to know about more and more, or just to clarify all the things, and also it is separately treated because just to simplify your balance sheet as well as also the P&L, the statement of the P&L of the company. So here we will try to learn about or understand all the things which is there on the balance sheet. So first, the equity and liability section. Here the equity is a liability towards the shareholder and is termed as the shareholder fund. It includes share capital, reserves, surpluses and money received against the share warrant. So shareholder fund, you have already learned in the share capital how to write the shareholder fund. Like there is a, you can say there is a share capital which include the registered capital, the authorized capital, then the issued capital, then the subscribed capital, and how the subscribed capital is also derived, that subscribed and fully paid up, subscribed and partly paid up, and how you are going to show it. It is all be shown in the notes to account in the detailed way, as you are already done in the issue of the share, companies issue of the shares. You have already done how to make the balance sheet, the extent of the balance sheet of the your capital part. Now move to the next part, that is the reserves and surpluses. The second part is the reserve and the surpluses. So what will all this include? Reserve means, what do you mean by the reserve? So reserve means amount set aside out of the profit and other surpluses which are not earmarked in any way to meet any particular liability known to exist on the date of the balance sheet. So thus reserve mean amount set aside out of the profit and surpluses to meet further uncertainties, prospective losses, or to strengthen the financial position. So we can say that there are some kind of the reserves which are there given according to the Schedule 3rd of the Companies Act 2013. Prescribed the heads of reserve and surpluses. What are those reserves? You can have here, you can have the different reserve which can be the capital reserve, the capital reduction reserve, then the debenture redemption reserve, revaluation reserve, the share option outstanding account, and other reserves which specify the nature and purpose of each reserves. And also after all that you will have the surpluses, that is the balance in statement of the P&L account. So these are the different reserves you are going to be treated. So here there are some options, there are some more information about the different reserve we have just discussed about here. That is the capital reserve. It means here on the reserve and surpluses you will have to write all the reserve which is there given in the balance sheet. What are those reserves? You try to understand it. What is the capital reserve? So the reserve created out of the capital profit is known as the capital reserve. It is created out of the profit earned from the transaction of the capital nature and is not available for the distribution of the distribution to the shareholder as on the table. So it is very clear that the capital reserve is actually created through the capital profit, but it should not be used for the distribution of the dividend to the shareholder. What are the example of the capital reserve? These are the gain on the sale of fixed asset, then the gain on the sale of investments, gain or a profit on reissue of the forfeit shares, also the gain on purchase of an existing business. These are actually the capital profits which can be converted into the capital reserves. So next is the capital reduction reserve. What is the meaning of capital reduction reserve? That is, the capital reduction reserve is a reserve created when the company purchases its own shares out of the free reserve or a security premium reserve. So section 69 of subsection 1 of the Companies Act 2013 required that sum equal to nominal value of share to also purchase shall be transferred to the capital reduction reserve. The reserve may be used by the company for issuing the fully paid up bonus shares. Now next is your security premium reserve. You might be knowing the security premium reserve because you must be passing the entry at the time of the issue of the share at the premium. So what is the meaning of security premium reserve? It is a reserve to which amount is received in excess of the nominal value or face value of the share, that is either on the share or the debentures, that is credited. It can be used by the company for the purpose stated in section 52 of the subsection 2 out of the Companies Act 2013. Now next is the DRR, or you can say the debenture redemption reserve. The debenture redemption reserve is a reserve credited by the amount prescribed under the section 71 subsection 4 of the Companies Act 2013, which means it is the company before redemption. It is a reserve when the company create before the redemption of debenture in respect of the partly convertible debenture. DRR is created only for the non-convertible portion of the debenture. Also, DRR is not required. DRR is not required for the banking companies or the financial institutions which are under control of the RBI. Next is that is a revaluation reserve. What do you mean by revaluation reserve? It is a reserve created and credited by the upward revision of the book value of the asset. It is debited when the value of that asset is revised downward or the asset is sold or discarded. The amount of standing in the credit on the revaluation reserve account cannot be used for the payment of the dividend or issuing the bonus shares. Now come to the next, that is the share option outstanding account. Share option outstanding account is a reserve to which difference between the market value and the issue price of the share issued to the company is credited over the vesting period. For example, the market price of the share is 75 and the face value it is issued at the employee to the 50. Suppose it is 50, then what will be the difference? That is a 25. It should be created or credited to this reserve. So this is all the different kinds of reserve. You can put it here in the column of the reserve and surpluses. Now next part is the money received against the share warrants. The share warrants are the financial instruments which give the holder the right to acquire equity shares at the specified date and at the specified rate. These are financial instruments which will be converted into equity share at the later date at a predetermined price. Since these are to be converted into the equity share, these are classified as shown in the shareholder fund. Now, what is the next? That is the B part, that is the share application money pending allotment. What does it mean? So the share application money pending allotment is the line item in between the shareholder fund and non-current liability. It will lie between these two. So amount received by the company towards the share application and against which it will be certainly allot the share. You might have been there. You have already done this part in the share capital when you are doing the sum of pro rata basis when the shareholder actually received, when the shareholder actually required the more share and the company actually issued the less share. In that the company actually retained its money and it will be using for the next allotment. So we can say that amount received by the company towards the share application and against which it will be certainly allot share to show against share application money pending allotment. This situation will arise only when the allotment is made after the balance sheet, that is the 31st of that year. Now come to the liability sections. So liability section is again divided into the two parts, that is the current liability and the other one is the non-current liability. So if we talk about the liability, so liability is classified as shown in the non-current and the current liability in the balance sheet. Two terms have been defined in Schedule 3rd of the Companies Act. The current liability defined in the Companies Act is as follows. The current liability means expected to be settled in the company's normal operating cycle. Normal operating cycle is actually of the 12 months. Due to the settle of within 12 months after the reporting date, held primarily for the purpose of being traded, there is no unconditional right to be deferred settlement of at least 12 months after the reporting date. So these are all come in the current in your liability. Now come to the non-current liability. What are the non-current liability? We have taken here the long-term borrowings, then the deferred tax liability, other long-term liability, and also we have taken the long-term provisions. So here non-current liability is defined as in the Schedule 3rd of Companies Act 13 in the negative manner that non-current liability are those liability which are not current liability. So as we have just discussed here, what are the one by one we will take. Now first we will take the long-term borrowing. What are the long-term borrowings? Long-term borrowing means amount taken as a loan by the company. It may be issued by a debenture, loan from the bank or private lender, public deposit or any other by this nature. So what include in the long-term borrowing? We include the debenture, bonds, term loan from the bank and from other parties, public deposits and other loan and advances. All come in the long-term borrowings. Now next is the deferred tax liability. What do you mean by the deferred tax liability? That means every year accounting income is compared with the taxable income, and if the difference between the two exists, which is temporary in the nature, that income tax on the difference amount is termed as deferred tax. So see, there is a two kind of the income, that is the taxable income and you can say the accounting income. So when you have the accounting income and the taxable income, when you have compare about it, you will either have the deferred tax liability or you will have the deferred tax assets. In case of accounting income is more than the taxable income, it results as deferred tax liability, or in case the accounting income is less than the taxable income, it results in deferred tax asset. So it means that deferred tax liability is there in the non-current liability and deferred tax asset also will show in the asset side on the non-current assets. Now come to the next, that is your long-term provisions. Before that we have one more thing, that is other long-term liabilities. What are other long-term liabilities? These are long-term liability other than the long-term borrowings are classified as shown on the other long-term liabilities. So we have the trade payables. The term trade payable defined also in this section. So trade payables are the amount payable for goods purchased and services taken in the normal course of the business. Also trade payable include both sundry creditors as well as the bills payable. So it will come to your other non-current long-term liabilities. Now next is trade payable is if agreed to be settled after the 12 months from the date of the balance sheet or after the period of operating cycles, as classified other current liability. Now come to the next, that is long-term provision. So in the non-current liability, long-term provision is you can say the last in the subhead, that is what is the meaning of long-term provisions. These are the provision is amount set aside to meet the future liability, the amount of which cannot be determined with accuracy but it is estimated. Liability on the other hand is liability, the amount in which ascertained. The amount payable to meet the liability is determined. That provision like liability can be long term or short term. So what are the long term liability? Each item of long term provision is disclosed separately in the notes to account on the long term provision, which is totaled and singled amount is shown on the against the long term provision. So what are those? You can have the provision made for retirement benefit payable to employee who will retire after 12 months from the balance sheet. Another example of provision for warranty claims that relate to the period of after the 12 months of the date of the balance sheet. Also there is an example of the long-term provision are provision for the gratuity, provision for earned leave or provision for warranty. So these are all the examples of the long-term provision. Now come to the current liability. What do you mean by current liability? So current liability means there is a short-term borrowing, there is a trade payable, there is a other current liabilities or the short-term provision. All come in your current liability. Now first we will going to move to the short-term borrowing. What are the short-term borrowings? So short-term borrowings means are borrowing of the company which are due for the payment within the 12 months or the operating cycle. There are some examples of short-term borrowings, that is the loans repayable on demand, then the bank overdraft or cash credit from the banks, then loan from other parties repayable within 12 months from the date of loan, deposits and other loans and advances. Now come to the trade payable. What do you mean by trade payables? Now the term trade payable is defined in Schedule 3rd of the Companies Act that it includes both the sundry creditors and the bills payable and the liability on account of transaction which is not in a normal course of business. So also trade payable in your current liability should be within the 12 months. Now next is your other current liability. What do you mean by other current liability? That all the current liability that are not short-term borrowings or trade payable are classified or shown as an other current liability. So in this you can have the current maturities, current maturity of a long-term debts, that is amount due to be paid within the 12 months. Then the interest accrued but not due on borrowings. Then also you will take the interest accrued and due on borrowings. Both will be counted. Also income received in advance. Whatever you have paid, income received in advance will also come in a other current liability. Then you can also be take the unpaid dividend, application money received for allotment of security and due for refund and interest due thereon, unpaid matured deposits and interest accrued thereon, unpaid matured debenture and interest accrued thereon. Also calls in advances, outstanding expenses and other payables. So these are all come into your other current liabilities. Come to the short-term provisions. What are the short-term provisions? The provision which is created, which will be catering within the 12 months, you can say that are the short-term provision. So the provision is an amount set aside to meet the future liability, amount which is not determined but estimated. Provision like liability can be long-term provision for the short-term provision. For the short-term provisions are the provision for the liability which are likely to be within the 12 months from the date of the balance. So what are those provisions? We have some examples also. Provision for the telephone expenses, provision for electricity, provision for employees benefit expenses. These all can be the provision for the short term. So we can have the provision for employees benefit, provision for expenses, provision for the tax, other provision. So these all are the provision related to your short term. After discussing about the equity and liability and their subheads, we are also the other part of your balance sheet, that is the asset side. We have the asset side. We have the asset side and we have divided the asset side into the two, that is the non-current asset and the current asset. We are going to move to the current side, current assets and current liability. Before that, what do we mean by asset? The assets like liability are also divided to the non-current and current assets. So the current asset defined is that which is expected to be realized or intended to sale on consumption in the company's normal operating cycle, also held primarily for the purpose of trading, expected to be realized within the 12 months from the operating date, and then the cash and cash equivalent unless they are restricted from being exchanged or used to settle a liability for at least 12 months. So these all are the current assets. Now come to the non-current assets. Now see, we will moving to the here. The asset side is, as we have explained, there is a non-current asset and the current asset. So first we should more discuss about the non-current asset. In this we have the fixed asset and also the non-current investments, also the deferred tax assets, long-term loans and advances and other non-current assets. So one by one we will going to discuss it, that what do we mean by the fixed assets. Now fixed assets are those assets which are held by the company not for the use, not for the purpose of sale, but for the purpose of increasing the earning of the business. They are used for the long time to earn the profit. Fixed assets, we have the other more four categories, that is the tangible asset, the intangible, capital work in progress, then intangible asset under the development. So next that we have the non-current investments. The second one is the non-current investment. What are those? Non-current investments are investments which are held not for the purpose of resale but for retain them. Non-current investments are further classified into the trade investment and other investments. So what it include in it, that is investment in property, investment in the equity instrument, investment in the preference shares, in the government or the trust securities, debentures and bond, investment in mutual funds, investment in partnership funds and other non-current investments. Then next to the deferred tax asset, as I have already explained you what is the deferred tax liability and what is the deferred tax income. We have already explained about it. Next is the long-term loans and advances. That is the long-term loans and advances. These are those loans and advances that are expected to be received back in the cash or kind in the form of asset after 12 months from the date of the balance sheet and for after the period of operating cycle. So capital advances be the part of it, then security advances, other loans and advances will come in this segment, that is long-term loan and advances. Now come to the other non-current assets. Now other non-current assets that do not fall in any of the above classification or categories. So we have the long-term trade receivables and also, so what do we mean by long-term trade receivables? So trade receivables shown in the long-term receivables, that is non-current asset within the after the 12 months from the date of the balance sheet and after the period of operating cycle, whichever is later. Others, besides the trade receivables, there may be other assets such as unamortized expenses, losses, insurance claim, receivable and amount due to the assets sold, etc. Such assets are classified and shown under the other non-current assets. So it will all come in the other non-current asset. It may be recapitulate that the share issue expenses, discount on issue of the debenture and loss on issue of debenture written off in more than one accounting year, and unamortized expenses losses that are within rights of after the 12th from the date of the balance sheet and after the period of operating cycle, whichever is later are classified or shown under the non-current asset, other non-current assets. Now the other part which is just left behind is your current asset, which include the current investment, inventories, trade receivable, cash and equivalent, short-term loan and advances and other current assets. Now moving to that is the current assets. So current asset include that your all the first, that is those which are the current investments which are held to convert into the cash within the short period of time. You can have the example for investment in equity instruments, investment in preference shares, investment in government and securities, debenture, etc. These all are the current investment. Those investment which are held on convert into the cash within the short period or within the 12 months from the date of purchase of investment, that all are coming. Next is the inventory. Inventory also called the stock. So whatever you have maintained as a stock or in your store, that will all come into the inventory. So the inventory is held for the purpose of trade in order to course of the business, that is manufacturing or trading of the goods, are classified and shown as current asset because they are held with the purpose to convert them into the cash or cash equivalent within the short period of time. Inventory include the raw material, the work in progress, the finished goods, stock in trade, stores and spares, and the loose goods, all include in your inventory. Whether it is the raw material, whether it is in between the raw material and finished, that is the work in progress. Whether it is you can say the tools and spares, that are also your inventory. Whether it is you can say the raw material, all are coming to the inventory. Next is the trade receivables. As we all know that trade receivable for the current asset will be which is converted within the 12 months, and it includes the debtor as well as the BR, the bills receivable, both come here. Now come to the next, that is the cash and cash equivalents. So it includes the balances of bank, checks, draft in hand, check in hand and other, earmarked balances with banks, that is for example unpaid dividend, balance with the banks held as margin money, or bank deposit with more than 12 months maturity. Next is the short-term loans and advances. Short-term loans and advances are those loans and advances which are expected to be realized within the 12 months from the date of the balance sheet or within the period of operating cycle. Now, other current assets. All other current assets that do not fall in any above classification or categories under the current asset are classified or shown in the other current assets. For example, the unamortized expenses, losses, all will come. Prepaid expenses, dividend receivable, advance taxes are all classified or shown under the other current assets. There is also one more thing, that is a contingent liability and commitment. Before finishing it, you should also know about what is the contingent liability and commitments. So contingent liabilities are those liabilities which may and may not arise because of they are dependent on the happening of the event or happening of the future. For example, a claim is filed against the company in the consumer court by the customer, The court may hold the company at fault and may impose penalty. It may happen otherwise also. Whenever the company has a liability or not to depend on the court or order, thus it is contingent liability. Proposed dividend for the current year is also shown as a contingent liability because it is subject to approval by the shareholder, who may reduce the amount of dividend or be paid. Next is the commitments. There are some examples of the contingent liability also. We can discuss this also. The claim against the company not acknowledged as debts. These are contingent liability. Bills receivable discounted from the bank, not yet due for the payment. Proposed dividend for the current year and other money for which the company is contingent liable. Now come to the commitments. Commitment means financial commitment due to the activities agreed to by the company to be undertaken by in the future. It is in the future. They are also being classified into the estimated amount of contract remaining to be executed on the capital account and not provided for. Uncalled liability for share and other investment partly paid and other commitments which is their nature to be specified. So these all are the commitments which are you before studying it, before doing it, you should also know about what are the contingent liability and commitment. So this is all about the company's balance sheet, which is very very important for you to analyze the other tools of your financial accounting, because in the next chapter you are actually going to with the help of all this financial statement, you are going to analyze the financial statement with the different tools of accounting. So I think this is all for today, and I will wish you the good luck for your studies, and I will say God bless you to all. Thank you.